Hello, everyone. This is Nihil. I am the co-founder and CEO at Adaptability. Welcome to another session of Chill Times. Today, we already have another speaker, a fresh speak with a fresh piece of insights. And next to me, I have Rheanne Quadros, uh, brand strategist, opening, and the special speaker, which is Kritika, who is a brand growth manager, brings along luxury, fashion, and multiple different industries of expertise among the area of management. So I really welcome you, Kritika, for giving us your time today. And I would like to understand more about your background and what you have for us today.
Sure. Hello, everybody. I am Kritika. I am working as a marketing strategist for a couple of years. Having a background in luxury, fashion, and also a foundation in business management, I have a better understanding of how a luxury world is and how you cater to these people. I have worked, as Nihil mentioned, I have worked with brands into luxury. I have worked with gifting brands. I have worked into jewelry. I have worked into fashion. I'm very happy to be here and I'm looking to have a meaningful conversation with both of you guys. And thank you so much for this opportunity.
That's our pleasure, even. For sure, we are going to come up with multiple new insights in the upcoming minutes. Meanwhile, Gia, I'd like to hear more about your background and what you have for us.
Thank you, Nihil. So, as I always say, and have repeatedly mentioned, for the past 2.5 years, I've been involved in shaping how a brand looks, how it feels, how it even sounds, right from its visual identity, messaging, straight to its customer journey. I look at the creative side of branding, but also the thinking behind it. I want to know who we're speaking to, what they care about, what makes it all come together, and how to actually make sense of this brand. So I'm sure today we can come up with lots of meaningful insights together from tech and D2C and D2B background, as well as the luxury and fashion segment.
It's nice to hear. And Kritika, I'd like to understand more about the type of industries you have actually covered within your complete experiences.
So, as I mentioned, I started my journey with a luxury brand. There, I got a fair understanding of how actually luxury brands work, be it towards the client side, be it looking at the VM, be it looking at the service department, etc. There, I got a fair understanding. Moving forward, as I mentioned, I have a foundation in business strategy. So, I was always more inclined towards the business side of the industry. So then I worked into marketing. I worked as a marketing strategist with a fashion jewelry brand. There I got a fair understanding about the websites, how you can revamp the website, how you can shape the social media, how you can do a storytelling or branding as per se. Yeah, I mean, and moving forward, I've worked, as I mentioned, I've worked into gifting. It was an artisanal gifting brand where also I got a fair understanding of how a gifting industry is, which to my surprise, it's a huge industry in India and it has a fair growth. Like I have seen a lot of people booming through the industry. And moving forward, right now I'm working as with a social media app, which is again a different industry altogether, but it's a great experience where I'm learning. I mean, it's a new day every day. Like, I'm learning new things every day.
So, during this tenure, have you ever felt that there is something whenever, let's say, coming onto the brand strategy segment and identity segment, and when you have been on onto the field as a soldier, completely shaping the whole wireframe for a company, for a brand. Any specific thing which you have realized founders are somewhere making a mistake, or it could be a myth in them. It could be something where you have busted that myth and you have seen this very much on track.
So, yeah, I mean, I would not say a mistake, because I believe every founder or startups I have worked with, they were also exploring and overcoming the challenges which they were facing. But I would say one thing which was missing was sometimes a communication gap, which has happened a lot. Where earlier the messaging was different, but over the time it could have been changed. But it has reflected a lot on my strategy, because if I am strategizing something, I am doing it from the scratch, and if there is a communication gap, it could give me a backward flow where I have to start again. So that is a one thing which I have experienced so far, where this is a real big gap which I am facing. Like I have faced a lot.
Have you
Okay.
been like looking into better practices for these kind of, as you mentioned,
Yeah, I mean,
miscommunication?
of course, over the time, I have learned from my mistakes that, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, the messagings could get changed with the time. So, yeah, of course, from the first company to the second, I have had a better understanding, and I've always been very straightforward with the founders that I think the messaging should be clear
Yeah.
throughout the campaign or throughout the strategy,
Yeah.
so that it could help every employee to be in the same flow, and it does not reflect back for us where we could have where we have to start the work again.
Yeah. I think a major issue a lot of agencies or a lot of firms see is that there is this continuous back and forth between work that is
See,
happening.
it's not their mistake as well. I believe the trends are changing so much, and everybody wants to get into those trends. And I believe that has reflected a lot on the messaging, because
Hmm.
one day I might want a pink color, but maybe the second day I don't want it,
Yeah.
because the branding and the trends have been changed, the messaging have been changed. So that, I think, that has been a major influence on the founder side.
Definitely.
So now, as you mentioned, that you've been shaping through a lot many, you already have held multiple hats within the luxury segment. And I'm just curious while Rheanne was speaking to you on a quick question, which is that whenever you get onto luxury campaigns, or even
Mhm.
when you look at luxury campaigns, um, is there any specific hidden detail which you have realized that it sets the strategy section apart from aesthetics? Because nowadays luxury is getting very much all around great aesthetics. So what's being hidden in
I think one thing which has set apart into strategy is the emotions and, of course, the people behind it. I have seen promoting these people who are actually the makers and the craftsmanship, the people who are literally the artists behind it. That has changed and set apart the brands I've worked with, because I always try to put those people forward, because these are the true heart of the brand. They were the people. And I believe that has played a lot. And even the emotions and the storytelling goes hand in hand, where, I mean, a product is being made. And if the story is not reflected in a beautiful manner, I believe that could go waste. So the
Especially with
artist can
everything
always,
just being
yeah,
so mass produced.
yeah,
Just
definitely.
bunch.
Definitely.
It needs, we need to come back to just looking at individualism and how so many people are wearing something that one person has made with their bare hands. For
Definitely.
example.
And these artists could tell the story in a better way than us.
Indeed. Just the way, if you see, which I have even realized, and multiple, whenever I have consulted multiple founders out there, there's a change which I have seen.
Mhm.
Gradually, customers have slowly started disconnecting themselves with the line of trust when business development people are actually becoming the first point of contact to a stranger.
Yeah,
You see sales
definitely.
emails coming up. The
Definitely.
moment you see a sales email coming up to you, or maybe someone is trying to pitch you a particular service or a product, you simply see this ABC person pitching. And
Hmm.
right underneath the person is a title which talks sales manager, business development manager, someone who is not the soldier,
Yeah,
someone who is just becoming the face. And gradually with time, people have started, disconnecting with this segment, considering it to be just like in any other sales pitch. But slowly and steadily, has been a change even whenever I consult with founders and I even tell them that how about you just make the people who are the actual face of execution a part of that pitch. Why to even pitch? Instead, start suggesting over emails. Start suggesting how you can be a better version of what you are today with your product,
definitely.
with your workflow, or with any of the pattern you have been following till date. And that way, of course, when you're able to connect with this person who's going to be your soldier tomorrow, who's going to be executing your workflow tomorrow, you're able to share a much more better side of yourself. You're able to be much more vulnerable, telling them that I have been actually facing this and couldn't find anybody with whom I can share this. But the moment a person sees a sales manager tag coming up and they're able to simply disconnect, not my thing. Another sales pitch email onto which I would reply, and the same person is going to come up with some pricing plans where I might not be able to understand what do they even have in just a stereotypical pitch deck, just a
Mhm.
stereotypical 30-minute discovery call, and it's done.
Definitely.
That's where people start ghosting. And then the same pool of founders start considering the factor that the discovery call went really well. The person was very friendly, very intimate, but never showed up because the person wasn't able to connect.
Definitely. To answer your questions, I have seen this trend with Gen Zs, I believe. I think the next generation has completely redefined what luxury stands for them. Earlier, it was more about exclusivity, price, and status. But I believe these days, they are more concerned about the authenticity, the experience they are getting from the brands, and of course, the emotional connect which they could relate to.
Yeah.
Gen Z and if I would say younger millennials, they want to engage with the brands that aligns well with their values, be it a social awareness, be it if they are into sustainability or they are more individual as a personality. A lot of luxury brands have also revamped their whole appeal amongst these younger audiences so that they could align more with these audiences. This is the trend which I have seen because these Gen Zs are not about owning a $1,000 watch, but they also want to connect with the story behind it, or what's their agenda, or what this brand is doing for the social community as well.
Even in addition to that, there's this like sense of responsibility when you're contributing to any product that you are going to buy, right? So
Yeah.
when you see that you're buying from, for example, a more sustainable brand and you're supporting that brand, it just ties in with any kind of scenario that is happening in the present world. And you just feel
Yeah.
good about having something that contributes positively rather than just some fad or some flashy handbag that you would rather buy.
Definitely. I totally agree with you.
In fact, so I've even seen this thing that gradually there has been one more shift. Now, coming on from a complete brand consulting segment, I won't say that marketing is something which shouldn't be there. It should be there. But there's a disconnect which I have generally seen within people, and that is they consider branding as a part of marketing, whereas it's vice versa.
Yeah.
And they even consider branding to be just design, which it is not. A
Definitely.
great logo is not what branding stands for. A great design or your complete design systems is not what branding stands for. Branding actually stands for a complete reputation of what you bring to the table. The way you speak, the way you show, the way you narrate, what you post, and why you post. It is either on your website, on your social posts, and it even includes a community of those people who are heading that A. It could
Mhm.
be the founders, it could be the directors, and it could even be all those people who are actual soldiers in there. How they are actually directing that. You would have seen this one disconnect, which I have realized seeing multiple times within multiple companies, that the founder is trying to showcase himself or herself as attaining a hierarchy and never shows up public. A team of creatives are trying to push a narrative which is completely different from what the founder or founders show themselves to be. Then comes another department, which is the sales team, which is trying to become too cheesy or friendly over an email.
Hmm.
Creative teams are talking about all the flash and fun. The founders, directors, or all these people are the ones who are trying to set themselves on a specific formal hierarchy. But at the end, the public doesn't really care.
Yeah.
You might hold that hierarchy within those four walls, but right outside those four walls, nobody cares. Either if you're a founder, CEO, or whoever, because that CEO tag is going to hold that reputation on the basis of that customer.
Yeah.
If the customer isn't able to connect with you, what's the purpose? You can actually have
Definitely.
a nice tag, and that tag relates just with you and your internal teams. So the gradual shift, which now has been coming up slow and steadily within the Gen Z culture, which earlier used to be in the ages earlier. Gen Zs are now growing and building companies and their brands in bulk. The founders are becoming a part of it. Founders are trying to talk upon the segment, what they are building, why they are building, and they are being really intimate in the public. They are going with their products on streets, showing this is what I have for you, asking for challenges instead of wearing a nice coat of hierarchy, where the creative teams have just been trying to connect. And of course, people do believe things when the creator brings it, when you as a person bring something to the table telling someone that this is what I have made. They'll ask you, whose recipe is it? Is
Yeah.
it a citation? Or if when you tell them this is my recipe, they would love to taste it. But the moment you tell them this is a recipe from someone I saw on the internet and I'm just here to sell it to you, they would feel that, okay, YouTube actually has enough such recipes. And I keep getting such people who keep selling me all that stuff. So whenever these brands try to launch themselves, and as you mentioned about your experience in multiple dimensions. So have you ever felt that, these marketing launches, they try to make it too straightforward at times? Any moment or any campaign you've been through where you saw that the plan was completely different, but turned out completely different, and it was a learning thing? Or if there's something which you'd like to share that this is what founders can learn.
Okay. To answer to your questions, I could totally agree where you are coming from and what you try to put forward. You are so correct where you are saying that creators should be the person who could connect with the audiences in a much better way rather than bringing a salesperson or somebody who has no contact with the product, like in the making of the product. I once managed a campaign where earlier, as I mentioned, the messages keep changing. So the message was earlier different where we were launching during a festive, but somehow it got delayed with some technical or operational functions where we had to delay the campaign. So that time I had to creatively make the whole campaign in a way where it's not too festive and not too direct, but also it has some feeling of festivity, but also which could be used throughout the year and not just for a particular festive. So there I learned, like there where I could have had more options with the campaign, where I could have a better understanding from the founders, where if a technical fault, if a technical delay is happening, how we needed more time to reshape it and to rebrand it and to re-message it again. But yeah, I mean, we quickly pivoted the whole messaging and we quickly revamped the whole campaign according to the script and according to the meetings we had with the other brands. But yeah, I mean, somehow it turned out to be great because it had the both the feeling where the festive feeling and the throughout the year campaign feeling. So I think there it was moreover how I reacted with the situation. I did not panic, but rather I took a step back and just analyzed the situation, how I can rework it again in a small span of time. I did not have a lot of time, but yeah, I think my team helped. I would not take the whole credit, but the team also helped.
And of course, teamwork is the only way
Of
how
course.
things can
Of course.
do there. So
Definitely.
I really would agree. But yeah, this just got me curious onto something which generally within companies, especially when they reach a mid-size, because startup companies generally don't have intense number of people, so that way they aren't able to diversify departments. But so what do you think now in 2025, or you've already been in the industry since a long time? Any 4 to 5, or maybe you said the number, issues where founders actually are not working well when it comes to managing marketing?
That's a quite interesting question.
I would like to have your critic out, shout out loud.
Definitely, it will. Firstly, as I mentioned, I'm mentioning it again and again. The messaging should be clear so that the marketing team could work better in a flow and it does not reflect back on their work. Secondly, I would definitely want the founders to look at the certain departments because sometimes they expect you to wear multiple hats, but that does not happen every time because if I'm occupied with a campaign which is live and if I am supposed to do, I'm just taking an example, and I'm supposed to do a shoot as well, it could influence both the things. It could reflect back on my work at the campaign and on the shoot as well. And at the end, I would be responsible for the whole thing. So I would expect founders to look at this in a very strategic way where they could have had people specifically for their jobs. Thirdly, I would really want founders to, this could be a little direct, but I would definitely want founders to give these managers or any strategist who is working at the department some creative freedom. Definitely some creative freedom where I could use my mind and I could bring a lot new to the table from a different perspective. Because I believe as a founder, you think for the brand in a very different direction. But as a growth manager or a brand growth manager or a marketing strategist, I would have a different mindset for the brand, which could be successful as well. It's not like you would always be right, but definitely the growth managers could also could also bring a lot to the table. Yeah, I mean, more or less, I think these three things are definitely which founders should work up, like they should look after.
So to all the founders with whom Kritika has worked, this is for you. Or maybe
Definitely.
the ones in future Kritika is going to work with, this is for you. So be aware about
Honestly,
it.
I have said it to the like to my founders as well, and like I'm thankful that they have implemented that as well.
Well, have you said this to your founders or your company?
My company founders, of course.
Because of course, there, if we talk about your founders,
No, not my founders.
there is even a chance of improvement. Of course, everyone's individual founder even requires small changes.
No, definitely to my company founders. Yeah.
So now I completely do get it. And when you were mentioning about that, this is going to be too direct. I would love that because as a consultant, this is what I love. I simply, the best part about my role is I have a mirror which I show people.
Mhm.
If you're standing naked, no worries, you are standing there.
Right.
The best part about our role is we do not have to please.
Yeah.
We don't please people. If you are actually half this way, you are half this way. And once a person is able to accept that they are in that condition, that's when they're able to grow. Otherwise, of course, the same pattern is flowing. You keep fueling certain number of employees, certain number of ad campaigns, and you keep doing all the same 360 role. You
Yeah.
are just churning. You're doing nothing else. And that way, a product or a service just sells for some time. And after that, people start losing interest. This way, you just get one time buyers. You don't get customers. People just invest in your product once. They see a nice funky advertisement once. They just purchase it. And right after that, they're able to feel. Because then you become a substitute. If you psychologically think, when a person chooses you, we take it this way. When you are actually looking forward to a friend or let's say a companion,
Yeah.
what's the first thing you look forward to in them is, are they someone with whom I can actually have a durable companionship? The first thing. Are they easily replaceable? If yes, you'll actually keep replacing.
Yeah.
Okay. These three qualities I found there as well. These three qualities I'm finding here as well. And these are easily replaceable. I'll find somewhere else as well.
Yeah.
It's very easy. But when you get some pool of those robust qualities in partner, either it's a company, either it is a professional engagement. So are these qualities that easily replaceable? If they are, there's no purpose. And that's where generally companies get this thing as a myth. They believe that just the way you are friends with someone, you just go out, hang out with them. You believe that the person is probably enjoying it, but the person is not. The person is actually going with the flow until the person finds something stronger than you. And the moment someone tries or excels in that stronger version of you, they'll simply slowly and steadily tell you, it's not work. This might be too hard pinching for several.
No. I mean, that's a great thought to put across. You are so correct where people think that, I mean, they are right also. Like as a founder, you might have a lot on your plate where you're thinking your brand should grow, your money should come in on time. If you're investing a lot of money, you should get a return as well. So, they also wear a lot of multiple hats across. So they are also not wrong where they want perfection from every department. But there could be a lot of time where you need to give a room to people just to at least, show them that, okay, yeah, we can also be different, or we could bring a lot more to the brand. We could bring a lot more, if per se, sales, a lot more sales to your product. Or because there have been a lot of time where I have had an experience where the messaging was not correct from the founder side, but what I was trying to portray from a campaign, that was very well versed with the campaign, but we had to
Isn't
go
this
through the
relatable
founders.
to our individual founders?
Sorry.
Isn't this very much relatable to individual founders, even? As in,
It
our
is.
founders, when they make mistakes, they are never wrong.
No,
So
of course,
that's relatable
of
there
course.
as well.
Of course, definitely. But yeah, I mean, there have been instances where I believe if I would have a lot more creative freedom, the campaign would have been lot more successful, I believe.
What do you think, Iran? I think it's been multiple scenarios, which of course you would have even gone through in very same references.
Yeah, I just think that everybody has a different way of working.
Yeah.
No two people. Definitely there is synergy and there is a symbiotic relationship that is created between whether it be a company founder, whether it be their partner, whether it be their CEOs, co-founders, the whole entire team. But ultimately it comes to settling on one person's way of working, right? If there is a campaign in my mind, just thinking
Yeah.
from a we're talking about from a campaign perspective, or
Sure.
I'm talking about positioning a particular company. We know that the positioning for, say, if we're talking about luxury positioning, something is going to work, right? Because we have historical amount of data to refer to when it comes to luxury brands, because these brands are not like 20, 30 years old. They
Yeah.
all have
More than 100.
hundreds of years of legacy, right? That we're backing up our data on. But moving away from luxury brands, there are many founders who are in other segments, right? For tech, for SaaS, AI, research. These are all newer, more upcoming, recent industries where people are still learning how to kind of gel with their founder, gel with this energy, try to create that symbiotic relationship that doesn't happen just in, say, a
Yeah.
couple of
Yeah.
months. So I would say we have it a little bit on the easier side by being in the luxury sector, and that comes with time. It's kind of, I would say, it's still timeless,
Yeah.
right? To be able to understand when something has factors to it that affect the out. Whereas with something short lived, say, for just as we were talking about mass production or just a fad that's coming on, that's going to be continuously changing. So unless somebody is ready to be in the position of continuous change, or be in, like, for me, for example, I like a very strict schedule. And I'm sure Nihil can agree to this, attest to it. But I like a very strict schedule. Know that if something is not done by, say, if you tell me 6 p.m., I will go ballistic. Why is it not done by 6 p.m.? Whereas with the kind of trends that are happening now, it's not about 6 p.m. Right? Trends can happen at 12 a.m. Something can be happening on the other side of the world and we'll be sleeping. So it's just about getting that synergy when it comes to anything, whether it be a campaign, whether it be positioning, whether it be even cooking.
Yeah, definitely.
Over an entire spectrum. So ultimately, I would say the biggest takeaway that we can get from these two segments, since we're talking about luxury and we're comparing it to the others, is that we have this beautiful like ecosystem that has come from being able to reflect and look at data from 200, 300, 500 years of legacy, which just makes it even more satisfying to work in compared to these short-lived trends and these short-lived kind of campaigns that happen with some founders. That's basically
It's even about, turning up as a go-to person. So I'll
Hmm.
just break it down right after this one statement, which I'd like to share, which is I'm really glad about this factor that when Rheanne was mentioning about the rigidity about her schedule,
Hmm.
there's this one thing which is a very fun fact. As a founder, I am a person who has to push a teammate of mine to go have your lunch. Generally happens vice versa. Team members have lunch, dinner, breakfast, and founders are checking up where are these people. This is generally what happens. I'm sure you'd be able to relate.
Yeah.
But this is something which I find really, really robust within my overall schedule and the way as a strategist, Rheanne, it's that at times I have to actually emphasize or stress on the factor that Why don't you go have your lunch and right after this,
Ah,
we'll get on to other segments for the day. Now, as we were mentioning about this thing that let's say if either of us just want to order food, we have a go-to platform. It could be any of our preference. If we have to, let's say, get a t-shirt, we have a set of go-to, which could be jotted down into three sections. The first, which we may have, we firstly go right there. If we
Right.
aren't finding something strong enough, we have a second. Then we have a third. If we aren't finding any of these three, there are high chances if it's an urgency, we may go to a four.
Yeah.
Else, we'll miss this fourth and we'll wait if any of these three bring
three.
something back. So whenever these campaigns are basically planned, these campaigns bring you short-term conversions and they are great. But now getting onto a stronger aspect of how brand building works is selling the thought and trust of becoming your customer's go-to person. Are you becoming a go-to person to a customer? Is your customer able to hit your thought in their head if they are looking forward to change something which if you're selling, let's say, a product, if they want to buy that product, not from you, if they just want to buy that product, they just want to maybe go get that service. Are you that go-to person? If not, that's when founders look forward and they should look forward to work on their stronger brand segments and reputation. And that's how messaging works. When you aren't able to be as clear as possible, people start considering you to be, which we say as, this looks nice, but not.
Hmm.
This looks amazing, but it's not. We completely get this understanding, and that's basic human psychology. Whenever we see someone and we see a person's behavior, the way a person walks, speaks, we somewhere get this thing in our head instantly. Is this person approachable? If they are, we may think on how we can approach them. If they aren't approachable, we simply divert our attention to somebody else. This
Right.
person is not approachable. Let's think of somebody else. And that's where modern brands actually miss. And basic human psychology does work in every single form of life. Earlier, founders used to, as I mentioned earlier, founders used to maintain this hierarchy system intensively, which is why they never used to show up as being and that's when people start disconnecting, which is gradually changing, and which is a great point. A founder or a director or an executive, and it works globally. You need to think on making your product, your service, or your solution not for everyone, but for a small community first. Can you become a go to person for this problem? If yes, it is great. If you're trying to sell it to multiple communities coming from multiple cultures, multiple requirements, you would land up selling to a couple of them. At the end, getting that trust value from actually
Definitely.
neither of them will trust you. And then they would just be like, I just tried that application. I tried that product. It's just nice, but not for me. If you want to try, you can go just try it. This is how you would tell someone. And then the other way of you telling someone is, I tried this product. I really would recommend you this product. You should give it a try. It's very nice. The way you would suggest someone is how you were made to feel. And this feeling comes with these small messaging campaigns. This is what brand experience stands for.
Yeah.
As we're talking about
Yeah.
how we are able to ensure those touch points, we're able to make a customer connect with that. So how do you feel about it? Are
I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, you are so right in saying that. Of course, I believe brands would want to be the go to people for the audiences because I believe there is a lot of competition right now across all the brands. It's not like I am making something which is so unique that you can't make. I believe every brand has a lot of competitors. So I would just take an example from the brand I have worked with. Earlier we had a case where one of the client who walked in where she wanted a particular product from the brand which was the USP of the brand, and then we got to know that there is a competitor who is making exact the replica of the brand and selling it to the customers. But the woman walked into the store and she mentioned everything, and she also suggested, I mean, she not suggested, but she made a compliment where she expressed her feeling that she could have got the product in a cheaper price from somewhere else, but she's here because she got the experience
Yeah.
what we are providing, and not just while buying the product, but also after she bought the product.
Right.
So it's about the experiences which sets or differs a brand from each other.
100%. 100%. Yeah.
And it starts like if we talk about the digital experience, let's say, the digital app, the moment you see a person's name, a person or a company's name, XYZ, the judgment time of a customer starts right from there. You hit their website, you hit their social media. And the very same way, just the way people go out searching for a nice companion, they start judging. They have layers of judgment when we go out checking for a nice companion. Or let's say it's just like dating. We have
Yeah, even my
layers.
sister got married on a dating website. Like she found her companion through a dating website. So I know how many questions could have been there in her mind.
List.
I'm really glad that, of course, that dating platform actually got another testimonial, a successful testimonial. Hardly I'm
See, it's a beautiful thing to connect with people across the world. Why not?
Yeah. Talking about the world, actually, like Kritika, you were telling us about how you did this localization strategy, and just getting into like a quick Q&A session that, I wanted to just understand some points. Can you tell us about this localization strategy? Like, was it digital? Was it online? How did it, like, what was the kind of process? Because we are mostly like everybody, we have a target of, say, different nations and overseas. So how was the process like for you?
Can you repeat the questions?
You were mentioning about this will get cut off, but you were saying you did some localization plan, right?
Localization plan as in?
Yeah, you said that you had another brand come in from, this is as per our last meeting.
I'm not recalling actually. I'm so sorry.
Okay. Then we'll talk about
Can we change the question, I guess?
Sure. The virtual merchandising.
Yeah, definitely. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, so just getting into a quick 5 seconds.
What's the question? Let's discuss that first.
Yeah, so I'll just talk about virtual merchandising and how your process was with that. If you can just give us like a quick roadmap and
Definitely.
just your experience.
Sure.
So just jumping right into this quick Q&A question, just to get sort of nitty-gritty out of the way. You were telling us that you were working in virtual merchandising, was it?
Yeah, yes.
So how was that process, and how did that, because it's a totally different like in-house experience. How did that go for you?
Definitely. So when I was working with a luxury brand 2 years back, I was heading their VM, which is virtual merchandising of the store. It's very important for a store because I believe if a product is not seen, it won't sell on its own. You have to keep it out of the shelf and place it at the right place of the store. So there I had like in my journey, I had beautiful mentors who could guide me through it and who could tell me how you have to master the VM, because I believe it's the most important thing when you walked into a luxury store. If you won't see the right product at the right place, that might set you off. So it's very important. So of course, I had a journey where I had to learn this thoroughly. I had a training where they trained me well.
Yeah.
And over the few months since I had an eye, I believe every woman had that eye where she wanted to reflect back. So I think with that God's grace, I had that eye. And I was always very well versed where to put the product and where we could showcase it better way. Like if I'm placing a product on the A platform, it's going to be well. If I'm placing a product on the B platform, it might not go well.
Okay. So was this completely like physical, or did you have any soft kind of documentation?
No. It was totally on field. Of course, we had a training where we had to be well versed with the process, that why I'm placing this product on this area. So I should know, because if a client walked in, they could ask me certain questions, that why it's placed here and what's the story behind it. It's always about the story.
And of course, even so when I already had a conversation with one that a luxury founder, the same segment. So she actually wanted to, so she already had this one luxury boutique studio. in Italy. And that's when she was very first time, she was already working with a company who was taking care of certain of her sections in reference to marketing, her branding. After 2 years, she got to hear that something of this sort even exists. She was never told about. She mentioned that now I am not able to make great sales. I'm not able to make those people feel the experience I always wanted to. And it's been 2 years. Up till like last 1.5 years, I was able to perform well. And last 6 months have been a stage where things have been declining. So this was never told to her that something of this sort even exists. And she mentioned that she's actually paying some really nice money. So, of course, like every single, and when I went through her website, when I went through her social media, hardly even brands in several countries can actually replicate that. She actually had that eye
Mm-hmm.
and the product line, every single thing. And because of course, it's a luxury brand,
Yeah.
everything has been running really well. But now, of course, the end goal is the experience with us. When that is not being a part of the whole journey, what's the purpose? Socially, people are able to see something amazingly nice. And then the moment they are coming, they aren't able to see the actual aura about right there. But I'd really like if you'd like to share your set of questions, and I'm really curious to answer those. How about that?
Definitely. So, I mean, my first question to you would be, you have been in connect with a lot of founders, investors, etc. So, I just wanted to understand, what gap do you feel, or how do you, I mean, what's the first thing you look for before shaping or before giving an idea to them, or anything per se to shape their brand, basically?
I'll be transparent here, which might poke multiple people. I do not work with everyone. I even have a stage that is the founder actually building something which has something strong enough? Or is a person making a platform which reminds them to have water in every 20 minutes? This is what SaaS industry looks like.
Definitely.
Are they printing random Pinterest stuff on t-shirts and telling it's my nice fashion style? So that's a very great thing which you would actually find these days. Every other person is turning a founder because it looks fancy.
Yeah. I think the tag look fancy
The
with
tag looks
you.
fancy, but slowly it's declining.
Is it?
Because slowly it is declining. The reason is when everyone is gradually seeing that, okay, you're a founder, that's great. But when it comes to running, when it comes to performance, when it comes to actual in depth insight, when it comes to actually building that thing, being on the field, people fail right there.
Definitely.
Which is why, globally, more than 56% of startups fail within first 3 years. The
Yeah.
reason is they never wanted to do a job. They were too stressed with the manager they were working with. Now they came to a point, I cannot take anyone's this or that. I'll start something with it, which is a great idea. I'm not denying the fact that it's not. But market research is very important. What you're building should have something which differentiates it. We generally see the term USP. It's very much taken as another fancy term.
Yeah.
And multiple people, I'm sure, would have asked you too that people do talk about USP, people do talk about multiple such fancy jargons. What do they really mean? And I have a very simple way to talk when it comes to USP. Do you know the reason why this product, this solution of yours exists? If you have an answer why does this thing exist, it is for sure a great answer to a USP. If your answer is that this product exists because this will help people, the second question comes up, how? Different way it is actually being served as. There are two ways for a product. Either the product does something different or either the product is served different.
Yeah.
It serves the same purpose but is served in a different way. That's when people are able to trust it. Is it being served different? It's a marketing aspect. Is it actually serving people differently? It's an innovation aspect. So the first set of founders, which I mentioned, serving a product differently. This is the pool of people I personally do not like working because these are the people who have high chances of failing, sometimes really soon. Because these people believe in metrics and metrics don't build emotions.
Yeah. Definitely.
If I ask you how much do you trust this particular product, you cannot tell me a percentage because emotions, fulfillment, satisfaction is an internal experience. You cannot put it in numbers. Now, because these people who are trying to serve the same product in a different form may make money for some time, but they won't be able to excel in the longer run. The reason comes, these people look forward to short term stuff. How much sales did you make? How much have we covered this month? Sales is not coming. Sales is not coming. And these people will, of course, start making it really, really difficult for the people who are working with them because they want every single thing to work as per a vision which is halfway research. I'm sure you would have seen thousands of such products which hardly bring anything different, but they are trying to showcase themselves as different. And people
Definitely.
don't require that. People don't require new products. People require products who can actually help them with challenges they have. In 2025, you would have realized that people are looking forward to products which are not solving problems in every other form. But if it can solve one problem, at least it should solve that. Earlier, people used to sell products in a way that, okay, this product is able to cater five different purposes of yours, but it hardly used to, do stuff. Neither of the challenge was being served in its best level. So gradually the shift has been changing. Gen Zs and generations, the upcoming generations are looking forward to gather products, solutions, even as a consumer or as a creator, which somewhere solves one problem, but does solve it to the best of its experience. One of a kind it should be, because that's when even the placement even happens. If we talk about the value orientation, of course, these products, like the value driven products, very economic and affordable line of products, these products are very easily showcased as that it gives you five different purposes. People will choose that. Okay, just five. Okay, I thought it could have been better if it served 10 purposes. They hardly want any of these purposes to be served really well because, of course, budget brings aspiration. They have a lesser budget, they have a lesser aspiration. The second segment, mid level, should solve at least half of what half of something it says. At least if it says five purposes, it should at least solve two to three. If it is not solving that, even why am I even paying for this? The second, consumer perception. And then comes the luxury segment, of course, which is not actually even completely driven with challenge, but that is even driven with a status quo, with a
Yeah.
desire.
Yeah.
The sense of belonging, the sense of owning such an experience, where you make people feel much
Aspiration.
more desirous of that ownership, that experience. And all of this comes with long term things. So when you ask the question, the type of founders I generally work with is this section of founders who really know a product they have built which can serve a challenge with it. Instead, which can promise differently of serving a challenge which hundreds of already products existing in the market. What do you think about it, Joe? How has your experience been all through your journey when you have worked with such people? And right after you, I'd like to hear this from Rheanne. How has that been for you? The type of founders you have, but the type of clients you have worked.
I mean, yeah, more or less, I would agree with you that yes, of course, there are a lot of founders who are not solving a problem, but maybe adding more to the society. And generally speaking, I believe, as I think we have spoken before as well, where these Gen Zs or younger millennials are more concerned towards how that product is solving A, their problems, B, how they are socially reflecting back to the society, C, how sustainable the product is, or how they are not harmful to the environment. Like it's the same thing. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's more or less the same what you have spoken, and I'm not going to add a lot because I think you have covered all the dimensions of the question. But yes, I totally agree with you where I think the upcoming founders or the upcoming Gen Zs who are looking for a product or who want to launch themselves, they should definitely solve a problem, at least one problem which you mentioned, like not all five but at least one.
And in my experience, like I've had a mostly positive experience. And
Yeah.
I've always seen that the founders are really inclined in their story making. They are very positive as well when it comes to wanting to build a story. I've always seen that They are completely engrossed in the process, who want to see where the story is from, what is the concept, why is it, if there's a circle, why is there a circle, if it's red, why is it red. These are just the basic points, but I've seen that they want everything to be consistent over all aspects. So that way it's really inculcated a kind of trait wherein, that consistency needs to be there in all aspects similarly. So I've gotten, I would say, the better side of things wherein each founder really wants to see a purpose when it comes
Yeah.
to the branding process, and not just the branding process, but the entire story that they're trying to sell. It's not just okay, the work is done, so it's done. It's more of a why is it done? How is it done?
Definitely.
Can it be
Definitely.
done better? So
Even being very,
I
very
have a follow-up question though. Sorry to cut you, but I have a follow-up
Yes.
questions to you, Nihil, where as you mentioned that you don't work with such founders, I generally have a question where who do you think would make a better founder, Gen Z or a millennial? Who would be a better founder as per the trends or the basic data we have? Who do you think could be a better founder?
the one who's able to have a much more stronger way to find the why. One who's able to find why they are doing it. And they do not have to answer anyone. They have to answer themselves. If they are being here, why are they being here? What purpose? Do they have a purpose? Showing a purpose and having a purpose are two different things.
Right.
Creative agencies talk, we create purpose driven brands. Ask the founder, does he or she even have a purpose?
Correct.
Branding agencies are talking about, we create purpose. Ask the founder, do they even have a purpose? Secondly, it is the same thing, being served differently instead being actually making real sense. So it's not completely the same way as you mentioned. So I won't justify the fact that Gen Zs can be better or millennials can be better. Either of them could be better. But it is
Yeah.
completely on a person's individual approach, how detailed driven they are for themselves first, instead of expecting that from the whole pool of people they are working with. If
Definitely.
they, and in firstly becoming someone who can direct other people,
And
you know,
also a better decision maker. Who's a
indeed,
better decision maker and who have good people. Like you need right people also. It's not just you gonna make the whole brand, but of course the people behind the whole. The people who are working throughout, like who are putting their sweat and blood to the brand, and yeah, I mean these people are also important. So I
secondly.
believe
So when you have the why, which you again question the same thing. When you take interviews, you actually get to cross question yourself. Why am I going to choose this person? Does the person actually have something intense enough? And then, so like it is completely different for every other industry. So I won't get into the internal technicalities of the very same, but yes, the faster decision maker you are, but I'm not saying impulse decision maker.
yeah,
Faster
right.
in a positive form. Secondly, seeing both sides. Why am I doing this? And the moment you know the why, you're able to find the how. Because of course, nature brings you how slow and steady. So that way, although it was a nice question, one of the most interesting questions I actually had ever on this show. How about another one if you have one?
No, I mean I could have a follow up again, where as you mentioned that a founder should not be an impulsive but a positive decision maker. So, can you give me an example or can you bring me a situation where you have seen that these impulsive decisions have maybe led to a unsuccessful campaign or unsuccessful messaging or anything? Can you relate to it or can you bring me an example?
Okay. So back in 2023, I spoke with two people. Okay. And at that time, I actually was just consulting. They just wanted someone who can direct that. Now, they mentioned that it's been last 1 year. We actually have, been here to this stage where we have taken some good business loan. We already have a team of certain people who have been doing stuff correctly. The big question is that the product is not actually standing. We actually spoke with someone. So this is what they mentioned, that when we went for this funding thing, they actually went to some incubator program. And from there, someone tried copying their, where the first thing was that they completely started, shooting it to everyone and someone copied them. The chance was that they could have made smaller tweaks to it, or they could have been there, done that differently even. But they chose to do the same thing. So no innovation was there. One of their founder, as you asked, that an impulsive decision maker actually went ahead saying that let's make the plan stay just the very same and we'll see to it how things will go. Invest the money which is already a business loan. They fueled the same idea with lots and lots of funds. Later on, the product turned to a stage where the company copied it was able to stand better. They were able to stand better. They did not have intense number of sales in comparison to this company. But then, of course, they were stable. They weren't spreading arms everywhere. They were trying to solve, although the idea was copied, but they were trying to grasp it with the approach they had, slow and steady, trying to make one aspect of it better, then jumping on the other. In this one, what happened was that, of course, they made no innovation. They thought that they'll just go carrying to a larger market, which is why they started investing intense number of funds. And of course, now you know that there's no ROI. So
Definitely.
impulsive decision making, because research could have been done. And I won't say that, of course, because there was no trademark, there was no patent. So you cannot claim that that idea is completely yours.
I think it goes both with the founders and the employees as well. Like it's not just should not be very much stick around just for the founders, but also with the employees, because I believe even if we as a working professional, if we gonna make
I've
any
been talking about
impulsive.
someone rigid. I've been speaking about someone rigid. So the
Okay.
person already had that stage that I am telling you, I'm not asking you.
Okay. Okay.
So for such people, so a
Okay.
founder, yes, another point which should be there, that a founder should firstly keep that founder code side
Yeah.
when they are building or working onto something. They need to be onto a stage that this is a person who is not working for me, who is working with me.
With me. Yes.
So that way, I might not be and of course, nobody is the best brilliant mind out there. But of course, every mind can spark any idea. So you should be open to. So in this stage, in this scenario, there were two concepts: rigidity and then impulsiveness. Of course, financial impulsiveness and then decision making. So that way, it does go the right way. Although I must say that it was a very nice session to have you on this show today with us. How was your experience today with us?
Honestly speaking, this is the first time I'm actually going live and doing something which is out of my comfort zone. So definitely it was a beautiful experience. And thank you so much guys for having me on the platform and talk my heart out.
No, it was great. You had answers for everything.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great experience,
Mhm.
and also a great experience to know the insights from you guys both, and of course to have a voice around my thoughts, which generally doesn't happen
And the voice which
in
should
normal world.
speak your history and the future coming up to.
Definitely,
There has been a voice which should go to all those past founders and the ones who are going to be
definitely,
working sometime soon.
definitely. I think if it's gonna bring an advantage to the upcoming employees they're gonna have, I'm fine with it.
Of course, Beckerman should reach in.
Definitely.
So I really would thank you once again for giving us your time, your insights and energy. And I will meet everyone in the next episode with another speaker next time. Thank you very much for watching this episode.